the JPL, Jet Propulsion Laboratories' latest rover, Perseverance. It's based on the previous generation of rover called Curiosity. This one has a lot fancier tech and instrumentation on it. One of the things that it's really got on it is called MOXIE, which is a device which allows it to take in carbon dioxide that's on in the atmosphere of Mars and convert it to oxygen, so that it can lay the groundwork for future missions. For example, maybe we want to set up a colony on Mars. Oxygen production would be essential for life support in such a colony or producing a fuel source. It's got a series of cameras that enable it to take 3D high-resolution images of the surface of Mars. It's got a weather instrumentation package on it to measure what the weather is like on Mars. But my favorite is right on the front of it. This is the first rover that we'll be putting on Mars that has the capability of drilling into rocks and taking samples of those rocks that eventually can be returned to the Earth, hopefully in the year 2030. It can take up to 30 samples about the size of a piece of chalk. So they're not very big, but they'll be extremely valuable and interesting to study to see if there's anything in them in terms of evidence of former life. And that's what I'm curious about.
Well, yes. And actually what we are seeing now, and have been repeatedly seeing, is this rover is doing its startup activity and actually brings its wheels down and then brings up its two of its cameras, well, that's about all it's illustrating, except that it can move and turn around. It will move and turn around under the instructions that have been sent to it from Earth.
Yeah. What the engineering behind this is just amazing. The rover will be put in the nose cone of the rocket that's launched next month. When it arrives in Mars in February of 2021, it'll be all compact. So all the wheels are tight against the body. The camera, that top is called the mass cam, will be in its lowered position. And what'll happen is eventually the nose cone will separate. There's a heat shield to get it through the atmosphere. The heat shield eventually comes off, and then there'll be another rocket on top of it, rocket package that will slowly lower the rover down to the surface on cables. I'd love to be able to see that. And they will have cameras within the capsule that will show this whole operation.
Do you have anything else to say about this rover experience at this point?
Well, the only other thing I would point out that's going to be unique to this mission is that on the underbelly, it's not shown here, but on the underbelly of that rover, there's going to be a helicopter with twin blades that rotate in opposite directions that will be able to fly for short distances. I believe it's 90 seconds at a time, something like that. So it sort of hops around the surface of Mars, sending back camera images or pictures to the rover that are sent back to the Earth. So the helicopter works in conjunction with the rover. But I mean, this is cool. This is cutting edge state of the art research that students need to be exposed to.
And the rover will be looking for some particular things. Would you like to mention some of the things it will be looking for?
Well, of course, it's looking for any sign of life that could be chemical or physical. Interesting rock formations. It has other equipment on board to take measurements in a variety of different ways. So we're going to be getting a lot of information back about the geology of the Jezero crater where it'll be landing. And who knows? I mean, for example, one of the things that I'm surprised at, Selby, is how little discussion there's been about the geology of the landing site and little discussion of what kind of ancient life existed on Earth. What are some of the things they should be looking for? I've already been on one JPL session that was on the internet, and it was nothing. All it was discussion was the engineering. And really, if you're looking for signs of past life on Mars, it's all about the geology and possible paleontology on Earth. So the Jezero crater has, it's a very interesting formation. Think of the Mississippi River where it empties into the Gulf of Mexico. That's probably the best example I can think of on Earth as to what the landing site will look like. Of course, so on the Jezero crater, you have channel deposits that are black, and they empty into a crater. And then there's a fan-shaped delta that formed, made out of carbonate rocks, which is unheard of on Earth. And then you've got igneous rocks surrounding the crater. So it's very interesting geology. And black channel-rich rocks, to me, smack of possible organic matter to look for. Carbonates on Earth can have a lot of fossils in them. JPL is also interested in perhaps hot sulfur spring deposits that are near the crater. So lots of opportunities for Perseverance to find ancient life.